Hello viewers, hold on tight, because right now, you're about to hear how one of the most familiar names in America quietly flipped the script, and why that matters more than you might think. Malia Obama didn't just grow up in Washington and fade into anonymity, she's stepping out of the shadow, changing her name, changing her path, and yes, the odds were stacked against her in a way many of us don't even realize. In fact, after her debut short film at the Sundance Film Festival under the name Malia, and she said she wanted to make people feel a bit less lonely. That move, dropping Obama and taking on a new professional identity, is a bold statement all on its own. And today, we're going to peer behind that statement, why she made it, what it means, and what it could teach you about forging your own identity when the world thinks it already knows you. First, some background to set the stage. Malia Obama, daughter of former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama, grew up in a spotlight most of us can barely imagine. She attended Harvard, made connections in Hollywood, and opted for a low-key profile compared to many celebrity offspring. But in 2024, she premiered her short film The Heart at Sundance, credits listing Malia and instead of Malia Obama. That choice? It was far from symbolic. It was a declaration, I want to be judged on my work, not my last name. Now, you might ask, why is this even important? Because when you carry a name associated with massive privilege and scrutiny, every move is amplified, every misstep magnified. Malia and her sister Sasha have openly acknowledged what their mother called the Obama tax of being held to a higher standard. So when Malia drops the surname professionally, she's doing more than a name change, she's tackling the pressure of expectation head-on. Here's where the suspense kicks in. With this new identity comes new terrain, and new scrutiny. In early 2025, Malia directed 2 social media short films for Nike in connection with WNBA star Aya Wilson's signature shoe launch. But shortly thereafter, she faced public accusations from indie filmmaker Natalie Jasmine Harris. The assertion that one of the Nike ads bore shockingly similar elements to Harris's short film. Suddenly, the narrative shifted from what she's doing to is she all in or is she falling into pitfalls? Let me walk you through what that means, and why you should care. When Malia stepped onto this path, she entered 2 conflicting worlds, one where the family name opens doors, and one where true credibility must be earned. By dropping Obama, she narrowed one set of doors but increased her own risk, fewer protective walls, fewer default assumptions of superiority, but also fewer default fans. The controversy with Harris exemplifies this tension. When you're making films, you're not just competing in the box office, you're competing for originality, ethics, authenticity. And in today's culture that matters. Here's a surprising fact. Many first daughters or children of prominent figures never manage to transition into serious creative careers without being overshadowed by the family brand. Malia's move to filmmaking and directing, a role often defined by control behind the camera, hints she wants not just to appear, but to create. The Heart dealt with loneliness, grief and discovery, very human themes, not just political pedigree. That signals what she's after, connection, not celebrity. You might wonder, how does this all affect her personally? Michelle Obama recently said that Malia and Sasha want to feel like they've earned what they are getting in the world and don't want assumptions of handed success. That builds the emotional core of this story, the conflict between inherited legacy and personal authenticity. If you're someone watching this who feels boxed in by your family, your background, your expectations, you'll find inspiration here. If you're someone watching this who feels boxed in by your family, your background, your expectations, you'll find inspiration here. Now here's where it gets interesting. What happens next? For Malia, the stakes are higher than ever. She's moving deeper into directing, creative leadership. But she carries a weight, not just of her name, but of public expectation. The industry will watch for missteps. The independent filmmaking world will scrutinize originality. And she'll have to balance visibility, so her work gets seen, with invisibility, so she's not only Obama's daughter. So let's recap. She changed her professional name to assert independence. She entered filmmaking to do something meaningful. She got into big brand work with Nike, showing capability, but also entering a minefield of comparisons and accusations. The question now, Will she build a reputation on her own terms, or will the shadow of legacy and controversy slow her down? Here's the bottom line: Malia Obama's story is far from finished. It's a vibrant example of what happens when a person born into one of the world's most famous families decides, "No, I will craft my own narrative." But with that decision comes risk, scrutiny, and the need to overcome more than you might expect. Watch how she handles the controversy. Watch how she chooses her next projects. Because this isn't just a celebrity story, it's a mirror for anyone trying to break out of expectations, legacy, or stereotype. Now I'd invite you to do something. If you've ever felt defined by someone else's name, your parents, your school, your status, take a moment and think, what would happen if you changed your professional identity in some way? What step could you take now that might shift how people see you, not your history? Leave a comment below with one decision you'll make this week. And if you find value in stories of identity, legacy, and reinvention, make sure you revisit this script later and watch how the next chapters unfold.